Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and this is going to be my review for Image Comics' Mother of Madness. And boy, let me tell you, you are in for a little spiel from Evil here. Back when Berserker released, and if y'all don't know, Matt Kent and Keanu Reeves also have done their own comic. And Berserker is actually really good so far. We have the 4th issue dropping this week. It is 3 issues in, and it's actually delivered so far. With that being said, this is Emily Clark and Marguerite Bennett, and that's who's writing it. And then it's Leah Lees who's doing the art. I went with the Leah Lees variant, and man, did I waste my money on so many levels. And man, if you are a man and you like this book, you didn't read it. First off, I mean, this is just my opinion, and I know there are millions of comic book reader women out there, but there are a lot of comic book, men out there, and the whole story just puts down men, and not in a good way. Not necessarily in this like really super bad way, but it's like, man, you're like knocking off the main, your main buyer of this book. I will give the book Leah Lee's art. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's sad that it's in this book because, man, this was not only one of the hardest read, and it's a big book, and man, I had to struggle with this. I have not had a read like this since the first Twilight book, and I enjoyed the movies, they're okay, but the books, woo, not my, I did not like those one so bit. I will get into my review and reasons why I did not like this book. Now, that there are things that work, that are okay in this book, like I mentioned, the art is really good. The style of paneling, I really liked. I kind of like that this even looks like Amelia Clark, and on some level. I thought that was cool, but I mean, right off, I want to say the first page actually had me, and it's wordy, I'll show you right here, and it actually, there is a very cool, Easter egg nod to a bunch of gamer nerds in the world like myself, but she mentions that she has completed the Undertale game. Is a wonderful game, but a very hard game, but she has the achievement for completing the pacifist achievement, which is extremely hard to do. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I liked it at that point. Then we get to the second page, and man, it doesn't stop, page after page of the same shit. I want to say, on the first couple pages is okay, and what I'm talking about is she paints this picture that it's a man's world, and they're at this party, and it's like the first time at this company that they're having this women's gratitude type of party, and that's kind of where I started having problems with the book, and we're not even because a little further in the book you find out that this isn't current, that this takes place in 2040 something. Okay, so you're trying to tell me, I mean, this got to be some other world shit, because if you're trying to tell me in 2040 you're working as a woman for some company that this is their first, women's gratitude party, and I mean, first off, as a woman, if you took a job there and found that out, I mean, shame on you for continue working there. Those are kinds of signs that it might not be the right path for the woman that you need to be type of job, Okay, now I want to go into, I am in no way, shape, or form, discriminating, or am I sexist? No. I'm all for equality. I believe, actually, a lot of my favorite people in this world are women. When I come to singers, my singers, they're always women that are better than men. If I had to think of artists, I have a lot more famous artists that I like more than men. Writers. I don't see that there is this, and nowadays, I mean, when we have women like this woman here, and mistake me if I'm wrong, wasn't there this big conspiracy about how Amelia Clark was making more money than Edric Eldrick and Solo, or wasn't it kind of the same story with Game of Thrones? So I mean, you know, this is written by like a woman who's trying to paint this picture of this like men rule the earth thing. When you are a woman that make, you know, way more than the men around you. You know, I will say I work at a job that is predominantly men, but guess what? Most of my managers are women. You know, I don't know what world she's trying to picture. Maybe it's like this in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure on some levels we've seen that recently with all the sex scandal stuff that's been going on. And, you know, I'm not going to go into any names besides, I think, Weinstein. But to me, that's kind of weird. First off, you're kind of like discriminating males, and it's not just this one page. It just keeps going. I mean, shit, 16 pages on it, and she's still going on the same effing topic, you know, where she's still discriminating. I mean, it's like, oh, come on. You know, I mean, I would have been fine with it if that was like her job and that's where it was, but it's throughout the whole book, and it kind of gets repetitive on like a bad level, man. I found myself at like maybe this point in the book with that much to go, and I was like, ooh, I'm powering through this. I have to. I need to do the review. I got to get it done. I've never failed at doing a review, you know. And then I got to this part. I was like, oh man, it was a marathon. I have not read a bad book like this in so long. Now that's just one you know bad part is that she keeps beating the you know, that she lives in this world in 2040s where women are still, you know, discriminated and stuff like that. Now again, I went into the, you know, but another thing I'd like to know that yes, this does exist. You know, I'm not oblivious that women are not to this day treated fair, and I'm pretty sure it's not gonna, you know, level out in 2040. But the level that she is describing, this is like a V for Vendetta or a, you know, a 1984 type situation here, you know, where women are just, you know, the butt of jokes all of a sudden type world that she's trying to paint. It wasn't for me. Not only that, she goes into the whole stretch of her origin story, and her origin story is she was depressed, you know, she was being picked on in life. It goes back into the whole like, you know, men are winning, women or not type thing. Her best friend's a lesbian, so I mean her lesbian friend, and you know she's putting thoughts in her head, but basically and what's really weird is on the opening pages she says all the things she does, and she's got like 4 jobs, and one of her jobs is she is like a sex worker. I mean, I think that's worded specifically. It's as a that, you know, that it didn't say like prostitute, or it just said that she is a sex worker, and it does say so right here. I mean, it says, I'm 29 years old, single mom, high school dropout, chemical engineer, part-time sex worker, Thai food junkie, biological freak of nature. I mean, what did I just read? Like, I mean, you don't need to be a superhero at that level. You could go into the chemical engineer. You know, most famous chemical engineers, they didn't need to go to, you know, they didn't need to go to college. They're genius, you know. But and then she has like part-time sex worker and the food junkie. And okay, but then we get to like the origin story and like what she's doing, and like she's working the 3 jobs, and one day she's just having a bad day, and she doesn't really like stress a whole bunch of reasons why, but she tries to go suicide, and that's another thing I'm not big on. I mean, she's a single mom. I mean, you've got a kid, and in this story she's actually got like a lover that's trying to help her, and she's not even smart enough to get something that's going to kill her, because like right here, and it kind of states on the bottle that it's an experimental drug, and that's what gives her powers. I mean, we're talking about, she mentioned she was a chemical engineer, right? But she failed to even read the bottle that said it's an experimental drug. I'm just saying. Yeah, but then after that day, she's back to having this fantastic life, and woo, yeah, it doesn't get better from there, because after that, and I mean, I kept overlooking stuff, the man beating thing, the bad mom thing, and then it's like, it gets to this point. It's like she talks about her transformation, and it's like, I mean, it's this whole like budding joke at our expense, the reader. There's this one point where she makes fun of us as the reader, and she even states like, well, you've seen like 22 Marvel movies, you can at least read 5 pages. Like, how do you know I've watched 22 Marvel movies? Like, I mean, is that the stereotype that all of us in the whole world have done the same thing? I mean, honestly, the art at this point in the book was the only thing keeping me on. Because it's just back and forth. I mean, we're at the middle of the book and it's still going back with her friend, and she's just, they're all like, well, we're never going to get anywhere because of men, and yeah, I guess I got to go home to this man. And even the place where she works, I mean, it doesn't even sound like ethical or anything that a self-promoting, like, like strong woman would want to work at. She works at a place that deceives people into believing they're eating real food, and they're eating like cardboard. I mean, like, I don't know, but we get past that, right? And she keeps going back into this whole like, nah, that's basically it, man. That's all you need to know. I mean, it doesn't get any better from there. I'm not going to give this book a second chance. I will admit this to me that I regret this purchase. Luckily, it was not very expensive. It was $5.99, but I highly suggest, for one, reading it for yourself. If you have already bought this and for some reason you haven't read it, don't listen to me. This is my opinion. I've seen a lot of like bad reviews, but I've seen some positive reviews. And the positive reviews are very vague on what they did like about the book. I don't think I was very vague. And I read the book, and man, it was a struggle. Shame on, I can't believe that this is one of those examples on how does this make it past so many people to get into my hands as the buyer. Like, who read this? Who was on board with this? Like, I mean, it's wrong in so many levels. Like, not in the world that I want to be living in. Like, I'm trying to promote, world peace and getting along, and this ain't the answer. Like, I don't know what this was. I really, I'm not a fan of saying like a bad comic or anything, or man, but this to me is just a money grab. They took somebody famous and they got an okay artist, and they were like, yeah, let's I mean, honestly, the way the story's put together, it's not even like it's not even put together in subject. It's weird. It feels like it's just a money grab. Yeah, I really don't like to do the bad reviews. I mean, everything I'm reading right now is really good, so, I mean, yes, there has to be some bad out there. It's really disappointing that it's somebody this famous, and this is what she's trying to press. That's her topic of the day and what she stands for right now, or how she looks upon the world around her, and that's kind of a very sad thing. Maybe she needs to escape that Hollywood world and get away from that, man. And take a break, and don't do stuff like this, man. Take a break and stay at home, man. Stay away from the men. I really hope me as a man, I do not promote that. I hope I don't give off that image. Man, that's a horrible. If that's how one woman sees the world, shoot. I don't know, man. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought if you read it. I know a bunch of y'all did, but I know some of y'all just bought it to buy it, and and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you did like this book, let me know what you did like. I'd like to hear that. Maybe I missed something, and I'm just looking at it the wrong way. I can't say. I mean, I was fully ready to read this, and I put my all attention into it, and I don't know, guys. Evil out, man.